One has a hammer that makes weather apps obsolete. One wears red spandex and broke cinema. And one has been rebooted more times than your group chat has been renamed. Welcome, fellow Marvelites, to the list that dares to rank the legends, the icons, the cape-wearing culture shifters. Today we settle the argument your group chat has danced around like Peter Parker at a symbiote-fueled jazz club. This is the definitive ranking of the top 10 most iconic Marvel superheroes ever. This isn't about who would win in a fight. This isn't who could bench press Galactus. This is about iconography, pop culture dominance, character arcs, and the kind of legacy that makes grown men cry into their Captain America mugs. This list is MCU and comic informed. It's fanboy fueled, but fact checked. So get ready for laughs, goosebumps, and at least one emotional gut punch. Coming in at number 10 is a guy who once fought Falcon at an abandoned airport while the rest of the Avengers were busy breaking up like a rock band. Scott Lang, aka Ant-Man. Now, before you start yelling, Ant-Man, really? Let me remind you of something. Ant-Man is literally the key to reversing the snap. That tiny suit, that quantum realm tech, that broke Thanos' whole plan like a baguette. Scott Lang is not your average hero. He's a dad first, a thief second, and a superhero by accident. But that's what makes him so human. He's not here to flex, he's here to redeem himself. He brings the everyman charm to the Avengers. And Paul Rudd? The man could charm a symbiote. And hey, who else could go giant size and still not mess up their cardio? At number 9, Chaos Magic personified. Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch, the woman who turned grief into a genre, the queen of pain, power, and perfectly timed plot twists. Wanda's journey began humbly, a Sokovian orphan with a haunted stare, introduced as a side character, serious, intense, and unpredictable. But fast forward through battles, betrayals, and heartbreak, and you find her in WandaVision, commanding an entire town like a living stage play, rewriting reality to fit her fractured fairy tale. It's Shakespeare meets sitcom, tragedy wrapped in technicolor, trauma in a tiara. Her story isn't just powerful, it's operatic. From the war-torn ruins of Sokovia to the emotionally charged illusions of Westview, Wanda's arc is one of the most human in the Marvel Universe. She embodies loss, love, rage, and resilience. She doesn't just bend reality, she breaks our hearts doing it. Elizabeth Olsen didn't just portray Wanda, she became her. With a performance layered in grief, fury, vulnerability, and quiet strength, she transformed a background character into one of the MCU's most compelling leads. And let's be real, no one else could wear that classic comic crown with such elegance and menace.
Hey, yeah, I wanna shoot, baby.
He breaks the fourth wall. He breaks bones. He breaks box office records. Wade freaking Wilson. Deadpool is what happens when you mix Bugs Bunny with John Wick and sprinkle in about 50 chimichangas. He's chaotic good, or chaotic neutral, or chaotic lol. Ryan Reynolds didn't just play Deadpool, he was born for this. Wade Wilson is a loudmouth merc with a heart, a sword, and enough trauma to start his own support group. And here's the kicker. Deadpool made R-rated superhero movies profitable. He changed the game. Studios went, oh, adults want to watch unfiltered carnage? Noted. He also introduced casual viewers to the X-Men, sort of. He gave Colossus more screen time than any actual X-Men movie did.
I know, right?
Coming in at number 7, the Sorcerer Supreme, the surgeon turned spellslinger, Dr. Stephen Strange, the man who can turn your mind into a kaleidoscope and make you question the very fabric of reality. Before Strange entered the MCU, Marvel was grounded in tech, super soldiers, and space battles. But when he showed up, everything changed. Suddenly, we weren't just talking about villains and heroes. We were talking about mirror dimensions, multiverses, time loops, and ancient magic that predates the universe itself. His origin story is classic, yet uniquely strange, pun intended. A brilliant but arrogant neurosurgeon has his hands shattered in a car crash. Western medicine fails him, and so he journeys to Kamar-Taj, searching for a cure, but finding something far greater, purpose. What begins as a quest for healing turns into a journey of self-discovery, humility, and cosmic responsibility. If this list has you grinning like Deadpool at a weapons auction, hit that like button. And subscribe like Wong. Just subscribe to unlimited dimensional deliveries.
Do I know you?
King, warrior, icon. T'Challa is more than a superhero. He's a symbol. When Black Panther hit theaters, it wasn't just a movie release. It was a global moment. Chadwick Boseman didn't just play T'Challa. He embodied him. Royalty with restraint, pride with purpose. Black Panther introduced Wakanda, a technologically advanced African nation untouched by colonizers. That alone, groundbreaking. He inspired millions. He broke barriers. And let's not forget, he beat the Winter Soldier without breaking a sweat. Long live the king.
The worthy shall possess the power of Thor.
Thor, the god of thunder. And honestly, the god of character development. Because no one in the MCU has evolved quite like him. He started out as a golden-haired space prince with a Shakespearean accent and a hammer fetish. All honor, pride, and Asgardian arrogance. But then life, well, the MCU happened. And what followed was a transformation that even Loki couldn't shapeshift his way out of. At first, Thor was all thunder and no chill. But then came Ragnarok, and Taika Waititi flipped the switch. Suddenly, Thor wasn't just powerful, he was hilarious, charming, and self-aware. That movie turned him from one of Marvel's more forgettable solo heroes into a scene-stealing icon. But don't let the jokes fool you. Thor's been through more trauma than a Greek tragedy marathon. He's lost his father, his mother, his brother, multiple times. His best friends, slaughtered. His home, gone. And yet, the guy keeps going. He's the last god standing from a once mighty realm, and even when he's broken, literally, overweight, depressed, and drinking beer with Korg, he still shows up. When the galaxy needed him most, he summoned lightning, wielded Stormbreaker, and yeah, he went for the head. Thor is the embodiment of resilience. He's been a warrior, a king, a failure, and a punchline. But through it all, he's grown. And not just in power, but in spirit. His story isn't about being worthy of a weapon. It's about being worthy of yourself. And Chris Hemsworth? Let's give the man his flowers. He brought depth, humor, and heart to a character who could have easily stayed a one-dimensional muscle god. Instead, Thor became one of the emotional pillars of the MCU. So whether he's wielding Mjolnir, Stormbreaker, or just wielding a killer one-liner, Thor has more than earned his place at number 5. He's not just the god of thunder anymore, he's the god of growth.
Stop it.
Snicked. That sound alone should trigger flashbacks, goosebumps, or both. Coming in at number 4 is the adamantium-clawed, cigar-chomping legend himself, Logan. Wolverine. He's got the most tragic backstory this side of Bruce Banner and a temper that makes the Hulk look chill. Born in 19th century Canada, experimented on, manipulated, brainwashed, and still, somehow, he's the guy you want on your side in a bar fight or a war. Hugh Jackman played Wolverine for 17 years. That's longer than most people keep a gym membership. He took what could have been a growly caricature and turned it into a nuanced, tortured, sometimes hilarious anti-hero. Wolverine isn't clean. He's not shiny, but he's real. And when Logan 2017 rolled credits, even the toughest fans had to pretend they weren't crying. Number 3. The Star-Spangled Man with a Plan, Steve Rogers, Captain America. The guy who proved you can be both righteous and ridiculously ripped. Steve started off as a 90-pound kid from Brooklyn who didn't know how to back down. He didn't want fame or glory. He just wanted to do what was right. The super soldier serum gave him strength, but it was his courage, loyalty, and selflessness that made him a symbol. Captain America is more than just a shield and a catchphrase. He's the moral compass of the MCU. He led with integrity, stood up when it wasn't easy, and carried the weight of the world without ever asking for praise. Chris Evans gave us a Cap who wasn't blindly patriotic. He was deeply principled. He challenged authority when it lost its way. He stood by his friends when it mattered most. And yeah, he danced with Peggy Carter. and somehow broke all of our hearts doing it. Captain America isn't just a hero. He's the standard for what a hero should be, and that's why Steve Rogers lands at number 3 on our list. Smash that subscribe button like Hulk smashed Loki. You know the scene. And drop a comment if you've ever tried to wield a trash can lid like a shield. Be honest. Number 2 is the man who kickstarted the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. The genius, the billionaire, the playboy, the philanthropist, the walking, talking, emotional wreck with a heart of gold. Tony Stark. Iron Man. When Iron Man hit theaters in 2008, it didn't just launch a franchise, it changed the landscape of modern cinema. And a huge part of that? Robert Downey Jr. He didn't just play Tony Stark, he was Tony Stark. That casting was lightning in a bottle. As perfect as Mjolnir choosing Thor. As iconic as Cap's shield. Tony Stark's journey is the MCU's emotional core. He began as a selfish, arrogant arms dealer, building weapons, chasing fame, living in excess. But a cave in Afghanistan, a box of scraps, and a wake-up call turned him into something more, something heroic. Over the course of 11 years, we watched him grow. From the man who only cared about his legacy, to the man who risked everything for the future. He built his first suit out of necessity. Every suit after that, built out of love, fear, and responsibility. He mentored Peter Parker like a surrogate father. He tried to protect the world, even when it meant making hard, unpopular choices. And in the end, he did the one thing no one thought he could: let go. He snapped his fingers, saved the universe, and paid the ultimate price. Tony's arc isn't just about heroism, it's about redemption. About learning to care, to feel, to sacrifice. He went from being the problem to becoming the solution. And while he never lost that sarcastic charm or that genius-level wit, he also gave us raw, honest vulnerability. He made us laugh, he made us cheer, and in Endgame, he made us cry.
Iron Man.
And here we are, number 1, the wall crawler, the webhead, the friendly neighborhood legend, Peter Parker, Spider-Man. He's been rebooted more times than your Wi-Fi router, and yet, somehow, every single generation gets their own version of Spidey. Tobey Maguire gave us the emotional weight of responsibility. Andrew Garfield brought charm and heartbreak. And Tom Holland? He brought youth, heart, and the awkwardness of a real teenager trying to balance saving the world and passing algebra. Peter Parker is all of us. He's just a kid who wants to do the right thing. A kid who's been through unimaginable loss. Uncle Ben, Tony Stark, Aunt May, and still, he never stops trying. He swings through grief, through guilt, through the chaos of multiverses and magic spells gone wrong. And he does it all in a homemade suit with bruises on his face and rent overdue. He's not a billionaire or a god or a super soldier. He's a broke college student with a heart of gold and a genius-level brain, trying to survive in a world that keeps throwing skyscraper-sized problems his way. Spider-Man isn't just Marvel's poster boy, he's its soul. Because no matter how big the threat, how hard the fall, or how lonely the journey, Peter Parker keeps swinging. Whether your first Spidey moment was from a comic book in the 60s, a Saturday morning cartoon, or No Way Home's multiverse magic, one thing's for sure. Spider-Man is Marvel at its most human. And that's why Peter Parker, flawed, fearless, and endlessly relatable, takes the number 1 spot on our list, because when the world needs saving, he's always there. Sometimes upside down, sometimes invisible, but always amazing. And because 10 slots just weren't enough to hold all the Marvel greatness, here are a few honorable mentions. Icons who almost made the list, but still deserve a standing ovation, or at least a mid-credit scene. Hawkeye, Clint Barton. He's the guy with no powers, no armor, and no magic. Just a bow, a quiver, and unshakable loyalty. He shoots arrows, and sometimes hearts. Mostly arrows. He's been the glue in the background for years. Give the man his flowers, and maybe a new hearing aid. Silver Surfer, cosmic, stoic and shiny enough to double as a space mirror. The Silver Surfer is one of Marvel's most powerful and most underused characters. We're still waiting for that solo movie, Marvel. Don't make us ride the cosmic waves without him much longer. Black Widow, Natasha Romanoff, the spy, the assassin, the backbone of the Avengers. Natasha didn't have superpowers, just grit, grace, and a whole lot of red in her ledger. So there it is. 10 legends. Countless goosebumps. More multiverse drama than your ex's group texts. Agree with the list? Hate it with the fire of Dormammu? Let me know. This debate's just getting started. Drop your personal top 3 in the comments and fight me, respectfully of course. And subscribe for more lists that cause more arguments than Thanksgiving dinner. Because when it comes to superheroes, we're all a little passionate.